Okay. Hey, this is Mark, coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. And it's Sunday night. Well, it's a live video, so I'm sure you know what time it is. And I would like to give an update on the Hidden Creek Farm incident, I guess is what we're calling it. It probably should be called the Dalton Township incident. This is what we have so far. We have a small farm, an 18-acre farm, and the township and a neighbor are taking them to court to shut the farm down. The neighbor says that they're infringing on his lifestyle. I've been to the farm. There's no problems. There's no smell. It's really put together really well. The people that run Hidden Creek, Crystal and Lee, man and wife, do a really outstanding job. Very attentive to the details of farming. I'm not easily impressed when it comes to this, and I've been in the farming business now for over 20 years. But the neighbor, there's not much we can do about that. He doesn't really have much of a case because here in Michigan we have what's called right to farm. And his case amounts to basically a frivolous lawsuit, and it's not going to go anywhere. But Dalton Township, that's kind of another story. The township is not, for those of you that don't know, it's not the county. It's the lowest body of government that we have here in the state of Michigan. It's the smallest body. And they maintain to this day, actually. I got a video or an audio that somebody sent me. A fella had called Dalton Township and said, fill me in on why you guys are suing this small farm to put them out of business. And believe it or not, it was Lorraine, good old Lorraine, that said, we're not suing them. And I just, to clarify, I want to show you the lawsuit. I have it here in my hands. Okay? Hope that's really clear. They are being sued. They're being sued to stop their farm operation. And I'm going to show you the signature on this. Oh, I thought I had this pretty well organized. I guess I didn't. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh, well, sorry about that. I don't have the page that I need with Lorraine's signature block on it. Sorry about that. How embarrassing. No, I don't have it. But they are being sued, and the township is basically wanting them to cease and desist their farm, and they cite all kinds of things in here, zoning and animals and parking and all kinds of stuff. But if you call down to Dalton Township office, they will tell you it's just a parking issue. That is an out-and-out lie. But here we go. The first video I made about this was probably about 3 weeks ago, and it got a lot of people watching it. Last time I checked, there was like 30,000 people watched it, and people were kind of outraged by this. What is wrong with a township that is trying to stop industrious young people that want to make a living? What's wrong with them? And then to add insult to injury, they lie on top of it. And say that they're not doing it. It's beyond me that grown-up people would do this to these younger people. Crystal and Lee are in their mid-20s, and they're really working hard to get this farm up and running and trying to make a living instead of just sitting on their hands doing nothing. We have plenty of that going on. But here's what the township did. The township used the money that they collect taxes from us, and then they use that money to hire a lawyer and generate this. This was presented to Crystal and Lee by a process server, and they are due to be in court on June 20th to make their case to a judge. They're going to push for a jury trial. But in the meantime, we have some great things have been happening. I asked you guys if you would get involved and call and question the township about this, and you guys have stepped up, because the township, last I heard, actually from Lorraine on that audio that was sent to me, the township is looking for a resolution now. So why would the township, before, when I talked to the township supervisor, Tony Barnes called me on the phone, and I said, you sure you don't want to reconsider this? You know, we've got a pretty good network here, and I don't think they're going to take this very kindly. And he says, no, just doing my job, just doing my job. Now they want to reconsider this. Well, here's what's coming. The township is having their quarterly business meeting on the 10th of June. And so far, I've received a lot of phone calls saying, do you mind if we ride down with you? And you want to ride with us? And what time are you leaving? And all this stuff. So a lot of people are planning on attending that township meeting. And they would like to hear the township, the supervisor and all of his minions explain why they want to shut these people down. But I think that the township is probably going to be seeking a resolution before that, because they know how brutal it's going to be. And I'd just like to say, good on you, kudos from us here at Baker's Green Acres and the, I guess I'll just call it the coalition that is formed up here in Michigan to deal with this type of oppression against small farms. This is just over the top. Why do you guys go after small farms? Leave these people alone. Here's how it went down. If you're not up to speed on this, the neighbor went to the township and complained about this 18-acre farm next door to him. They'd been there for 5 years, and there'd never been a problem, never an unkind word between them. As a matter of fact, he came over and did chores for them occasionally. But something went wrong. They had a plant sale, and he didn't like cars parking in the road. You know how when you have a yard sale and people park on both sides of the road, traffic has to slow down for a little bit. He thought that was unacceptable, and the township, oh wow, safety. They had to get involved too. The township told me that they told him they couldn't get involved, but then the township summoned the wife, Crystal, to their offices and got her behind closed doors, 3 of them, and told her that she was in violation of zoning ordinances, and that she would have to apply for a permit to have her Mother's Day sale. That they had gone to her website and seen that she was going to have this sale. You know, they grow plants and they sell plants for Mother's Day. It's a really neat farm. They do poultry, they do a little bit of beef, they do probably about 15 pigs, they milk a herd of goats, they do a ton of produce, they do a lot of cut flowers. Really nice job too. It's really laid out well. Please go to Hidden Creek Farm on Facebook and take the virtual tour if you want to see what I'm talking about. My wife and I actually went there, and I sat at their kitchen table and read this complaint. There was actually 3 of them. There was one from the neighbor, there was this one, and then there was a injunction that a judge had signed to stop their Mother's Day sale, which they did. They stopped their Mother's Day sale, and then they were going to have, about a week later, they were going to have a farm to fork dinner, and that's dinners that people on farms give where they serve nothing but the fare from their particular farm, what they grow, and people pay, for a ticket to come, and then they're served by the farm personnel, and it's It's a nice thing. But the township didn't want that. They didn't want these guys making money on their farm. So they got an injunction for that as well. And get this, the township, if you're going to have an event at your place like, say, a graduation. Oh, no, not a graduation. But if you want to have a plant sale, you got to go to the township and say, can I? And then they get to say, well, let us come and look and let us talk to you and let us decide. And we'll have a board meeting and we'll have a Congress about it. And if we say yes, you got to pay $50 for a permit to do that. How do you like that? So now you got to go to your township and ask them if you can have a function at your house. Well, that's totally unacceptable. And they're going to find that out because here in Michigan we have the right to farm, which is law. And this foolish township has a bunch of regulations that they've come up with. And you have law on one side and regulations by a township on the other side. It's not going anywhere. But the problem really is the leadership in the township. Their arrogance, their lack of understanding of the oath that they take as public servants. The Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And I do this all the time, but please do this if you're new to my ravings. Please download the Bill of Rights to the U.S. Constitution. I am here to tell you I've hit the press the test button with the Attorney General of this fine state, and he's assured me that the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. It definitely supersedes, a township saying that you can't have a couch on your front porch or any such foolishness like that, or that you can't have a car in your driveway that doesn't have a registration on. That's foolishness. It's your property. But they do get away with this stuff, and the way they do it is they have lawyers on retainer, and then they fire something like this up. You get it presented to you, and then you got a court date because they've made it for you, and you either comply with what they want or you got to go retain a lawyer, which in that town we found out it was about $5,000, and a lot of the lawyers don't want to go up against the township. They just won't. Why should they? I mean, it's a good money-making thing that's going on there, and they don't want to. But this is ridiculous, what's going on here. It's so contrary to our freedoms that are given to us by our Maker, but then enumerated in the Bill of Rights to the U.S. Constitution. The townships are trying to supersede what our rights are. In the Fifth Amendment, it's really clear that our life, liberty, and property, which is also our process, is protected under due process of law. Of law. So that means you may not like it that I want to, I don't know, have worship ceremonies at my place. But unless there's a law saying that I can't do that, then you're out of luck. I'm protected to do that. And the things that there are laws against are things that, have been signed into law. It's been a bill, somebody puts together a bill, and then it goes through the House, and then it goes through the Senate, and then it goes to the governor's desk, and he either signs it or he doesn't. That's, things that are illegal. That means there is a law against that. And in a representative republic, our people represent us when they put these bills forward. Some of it's foolish, but generally it's pretty good. In this case, there are no laws saying that they can't do what they're doing. And but luckily, you all have stepped up. And when we start to think about the power being with the people, I think individual people think that, well, I don't have that much power. Well, you do. All you had to do was make a phone call to that office and say, explain this to me. And you know why they explain it to you? Because they work for you. You are the employer. They are the employee. Now, this meeting that's coming up on the 10th, all right, we really need people to go. And I think that if you go, this will be an experience that you don't get a chance to experience all the time. But We'll just fill that hall with people, whether you're farmers or not. Maybe you patronize a farm. And then just get an earful of it. Just see what it's all about. Get educated on this. And see where we go from there. I think there is going to be some sort of resolution before that. I don't know as the farm is too anxious to take any resolution. I just don't know. I've spoken with them, but this is a decision that they're going to have to make. But the people of the township also have a decision to make about the leadership that they've put in place. Now, in this case, it's a farm family, and they are doing things that not very many of us do. But if the township decides that all of a sudden no more semis being parked in the township, well, what if you live there and that's what you do for a living? But what if they make a decision like that? Or if you're going to park your semi in the township, you have to apply for a permit, and it'll be $50 per month. What are you going to do? You're going to get a lawyer, fight it? Well, maybe you won't have to. Maybe this incident right here will send a clear message. The natives are restless and they don't like this. And I don't think we do like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like the way these people are using the power that they've been given against these citizens. It's not right. I mean, the people that work at the township are getting a paycheck off the backs of the people that live in the township that are working people, and then they have the nerve to use that money to sue them to stop making a living at doing what they're doing, to appease a more wealthy neighbor or whatever. I don't know why they're doing it. But if we could get, tomorrow being Monday, bright and early, let's start ringing their phones again and, just say, please explain this to me. And you may hear something like, oh, we're not suing them. That's not true. Say, well, I've seen the paperwork. It's right here. I mean, this is an original copy of it, right? And then plan on attending the township meeting. I don't have the particulars on it right now, but I think anybody that wants to go could Google it real quick and go, and everybody will have a chance to speak for 3 minutes. They're not going to answer any of your questions, and I think that's totally incorrect. You have employees that work for you, and they're having a meeting about how they're going to proceed, running the township. But as a concerned citizen, they will not answer your questions. Last time I had an employee that wouldn't answer my questions, he wasn't an employee long. He was gone, right? So the people of the township are going to have to make that decision here. Let's see, there was something else that I wanted to bring up. Well, I guess I'm not thinking of it right now. But outstanding. The power is in your voice and in your willingness to go there. And hopefully I'll see a bunch of you there. We can meet, we can talk, we can confer on this, and then the alliance gets a little bit bigger, because these things are happening far too often. Oh, I know what I was going to say. We've gotten the attention of a man by the name of Joel Salatin. Joel Salatin is a mentor of mine, not formally or anything, but when I got out of the Air Force, I started reading his books, and that's how I started my farm operation, was from him. And he was very influential in the lives of Crystal and Lee. They read his books too. So we're both being mentored by this man. I actually had the privilege to meet him a couple of times. I had dinner with him one time. Very, very nice guy. He is the same type of farmer as I am, because I'm modeled after him. But he does a blog that goes far and wide, and he did mention this case. And I think we'll probably hear from him again, because we're going to see that when the people respond to this with, we don't like this, and you work for us, and we're not going to put up with this anymore. These people in these offices, if they want to keep their jobs, they have to respond in kind, you know. So if we don't speak out, then we can expect more and more of this. You know, some townships closer to the Detroit area, it's insanity what they require you to do. If you live there, they have people that actually go around and measure your lawn, and if your lawn is over 3 inches, you get a bright sticker on your front door, and if you don't fix it, they'll be back there in a couple days, then you get a ticket. Unbelievable! It's supposed to be a free country, you know. They coming on private property and taking pictures of people's equipment and how they store their wood and all kinds of things. It's insanity. But these townships, you know, it's a group of people that don't really have jobs, and they kind of come together and they try to make regulations and bilk money out of the people that live in that township. I don't see where they're really doing anything useful for the township, because as I traveled into that township, I didn't see anything that looked out of the ordinary. I didn't really see a great looking place for a bunch of full-time employees to be working there. Anyway, I may have been wrong before about Lorraine being an elected person. She actually isn't. She's employed by the supervisor, and that's Tony Barnes, but he is elected. And we did give him the chance to back up on this, and he says no, he wasn't gonna do it. So there we have it. That's what's going on. If I hear more this week, I'll come back to you, but I think the next time we're probably going to hear from each other is going to be on the 10th. Even if there is some sort of resolution, I don't think the farm is, well, I shouldn't say, because I don't know. It's the farm's decision what they're going to do. My input to them was, you know, if you just take a do-over on this and call no harm, no foul, and walk away, and they'll be back. So I wouldn't do that. That's what I said. And if they may not be back after you, but they'll be back after some other small farm or some small business. And really, these people, if they didn't know some of us in the alliance, there is no way that they could have defended themselves against this. There's just no way. I mean, they would have had to hire a lawyer right off the bat, $5,000 to get who you don't even know who you're going to get, and then what, $120 an hour to figure out how to get through this. And who knows really what the rules are when you're just out there, you know, trying to farm and trying to make ends meet, and then you get something like this delivered to you by some process server that you got to be in court the next day. It's really sad. Really sad. But I appreciate you guys stepping up to the plate. Let's get after this. Let's really pour it on this week. Call their offices.